couple of quick things I wanted to share with you guys. This is based on what I see a lot of entrepreneurs do, things that they struggle with, and how that contrasts with my own life experience as an entrepreneur, and provide my perspective on it. I'll share what has really worked for me and things that didn't work for me. I see a lot of our members are going through the same kind of stuff. I try to give you guys that. Let me just jump in. Let me spend time. All right. Let me share my Zoom. One second, guys. I'm sharing the screen. Okay. Can you guys see? Yeah. Let me make this. Okay. I'm going to put this common pitfalls of entrepreneurship in 2025. Okay. This is a lot of rules of entrepreneurship. Rules are a little bit outdated. The method that I use these days is very different than what I even used to do myself in 2007, 2008, 17 years ago when I started. The rules have changed a little bit. Some things are common, but some things are, let me just jump in. It's a lot easier if I just go in. The first thing that has not changed is go fast, go to market fast. This is perhaps the number one issue. I start with it because I really see a lot of entrepreneurs overthink their ideas. People think they are like Confucius or Buddha sitting under a tree and the wisdom comes from within us. I'm not like that. I bet you guys are not like that either. The real answer you're looking for is preventing you from going to the idea like, is this a good idea or not? Or what should I call it? How do I go to market with it? Where do I promote it? How much would people pay for it? What is my business model? All those questions are actually hurting you, okay? And I'm telling you that essentially what I'm observing more and more is when we launch an idea, you only hear about our successes because inside the same company, I've had multiple failures. I want to say actually like 2/3 of our products are dead, okay? 1/3 are thriving and growing, 2/3 are dead. Even I don't know what works or what doesn't. I don't know what the right pricing model is when I launch. I don't know what happens when I try to market it. I don't know who will use it. I don't know how they will use it. But I have a slightly different method than a lot of you guys. Some of you guys might be super advanced and better than me. That allows me to bypass those thoughts. Essentially, I call it dirty launch. Maybe that's not a good name for it. But this is what I've seen, and I'm telling you guys this is true. A good idea when you launch with it, and a bad idea when you launch with it, regardless of how well you execute it, regardless of how well you priced it, regardless of whether your branding is good or not, whether your marketing method is good or not, you feel the difference between an idea that is actually a good idea and a bad idea right out of the gate. Let me repeat this. This is very important. You can spend months, years overthinking or analyzing, asking advice from people. Even you can ask me, I wouldn't know, okay? If an idea is right, how do I price it? How do I do that? How do I do? I don't know. It's very difficult. The market has become even more tricky than it was 15 years ago. Customers are finicky. It's very, and the landscape has become really complex. Anybody that tells you they can predict whether a product launch will be successful or a product concept is good or not is probably full of shit. So do not sit under a tree and try to Zen meditate wisdom out of yourself because the answer is not inside. So no matter how much you concentrate, it's just the data, it doesn't exist. And it doesn't even exist in the brain of advisors out there. It really comes down to fast execution. So you want to go, bam, launch ideas one after another. And when you do that, you see the difference between a good idea and a not so good idea is 10x, 100x easy. Okay. So it doesn't, again, this is my number one. And I know a lot of you guys are struggling with it. Put in the chat if you think this is an actual issue for you or you think it's not. I am telling you, the answer is not within you. Nobody can tell you. I wouldn't be able to tell you. And if I can, I have developed so much gut feeling based on my past experience. I get surprised all the time. Super cool being prime example. I did it when I saw the landing page and the product. I was like, this is a crowded market. Yes, we are more powerful, but it's a crowded market. So I did not know until we launched the damn thing. I don't want to say that I am the best at it, but I have launched a lot of products. You would think this many years in, and I feel like I'm smart enough to know. So you would think that a smart person having launched many products after so many years has a good feel for it. I didn't myself. So examining myself, when I saw everything built out, we were ready to go to market, I was 50-50 at best. In fact, I was slightly more skeptical than not skeptical. Okay. My thing to you guys is that unless you're some sort of genius, the answer is not within you. And the method completely changed. So essentially analyzing the market, all these things, writing a business plan, throw it out. Don't obsess over how you're going to monetize it. Don't obsess about pricing. Don't obsess about branding. Don't obsess about anything. All you got to do is launch as fast as you can. In fact, this word is like launch fast. When you launch fast, you essentially learn quickly, and you can continue to launch new products, and you will see the difference immediately. When I launch one, like, let me put it this way, it says personal experience after years. I mean, I'm actually a little bit embarrassed not being able to predict, because it's a really good product. The same with Famous. I wasn't sure. I was less certain with Supercool. Supercool was a complex product, so it was a lot of development to even get it to a point where we could launch. So it's like you're building in based on faith. I didn't have any certainty to begin with. And I have found that is normal and okay, as long as I don't spend too much time on it. Just push it out to market as soon as you can is perhaps the number one thing. I wish I could. I don't know how to say that any clearer. Like, push to market as soon as you can. And sometimes you can push the concept to the market same day. Is that Abe Lincoln that said, don't postpone to tomorrow what you can do today? Go fast. Okay. How do you balance dev time versus fast? I'm not sure what dev time even mean. And I've worked with developers for, what do you mean? It's like essentially go as fast as you can. Not everything is software, by the way. It could be a service company, it could be anything. Push it as fast as you can. And a lot of times you don't have to have the complete product. Sometimes you're pushing the concept of a product to the market. Pre-launch, sign up, wait list for your product. There are many ways to get fast signal back from the market. So as long as you do rule number one that I put here, I think it will be okay, believe it or not. Everything else is details. Everything else is about how can I accomplish that? How can I push ideas to the market faster and faster? You will learn, you will get reaction from the market once you launch a product. A lot of times what happens is that once you launch, you get feedback from the customers, and then based on that, you adjust. Case in point, white label of Deal AI, which is a very popular product. How did that come about? So I didn't think of white labeling Deal AI at all when we launched. But then once I launched, I saw what people were doing and what marketing agencies were asking us to do. And then we pivoted. So information came from action. Okay. I wasn't able to foresee. Okay. Does that make sense, guys? Losing trust with them if they think PDQ launch. What is PDQ? I don't know what PDQ is. Pretty damn quick. This is the term. I'm just too much of a boomer to know what it is. So here's the thing about trust. So I'm fine with that. I've made my peace with it. The thing with customers, Reid Hoffman has this quote that I always use. If you're not embarrassed by the first version of the product you've launched too late. It is so true. The key, if you want to feel comfortable with your customer when you have a product, when you launch, some of you guys have been with us, you have seen me do it. I actually acknowledge right off the bat, hey guys, this is an experimental project in alpha, beta. We are working on it, but I wanted to put it in the market. So the way to do it is like, at least the way I do it is I just transparently tell people, hey guys, I'm a mad scientist. I love creating new products. I like to come up with ideas and build products. It's just my thing. I love it. Okay. And I tell people, look, this is another thing we're building, and it is in alpha. It might have bugs, it might have issues, but I'm going to show it to you guys. I did that like pretty much with every product. You probably have seen me. Yes, bring them into the journey. That's the term that I use. I tell people, look, it is not a product. You're never selling a product or a service. You're selling a journey. I think of it as a movie. In movies, things go left and right, things turn bad, and then you overcome. I think it makes it more interesting. Honestly, like having your customers have the front row seat in your journey is a positive. You don't want to always have this fake facade of perfection. I know that there are companies that are different than me in that, like let's say Mercedes probably is very different. But in my life experience, I prefer to put a not perfect version of a product out quick and then tell people, hey guys, this is like an experimental thing. No one's going to die unless your product is like a medical device. Then it's different. But it's a software solution, it's a service, it's an agency or something. No one's going to die. Okay. So it's like you just tell people, hey, this is a cool new thing we came up with. Would you like to come and experiment with us? And then you have your own spin on it. There's benefit to the end customer too. If you are experimenting with new things, you're actually giving excitement to watch a movie where things always go right. It's a really boring movie. Bringing people in actually increases the entertainment value of your company. People don't want to see completely perfect everything. Some people do, but most kind of like the imperfection and occasional fails, downtime, stuff like that. It's part of the journey and it's not life critical. If you tell your customers the truth, which is like, this is a experimental thing and we are experimenting with ideas, I think a lot of people understand, not only understand it, but enjoy it. In fact, I think you can turn that into a positive. Okay. Ambulance dispatch system, you cannot dirty launch it, because if it is call 911 and you have a bug and ambulance doesn't get dispatched. So again, be mindful that things that are life critical, like an airplane, are critical, but most things that you're doing, or some of you might have critical stuff, but in general, if it doesn't hurt people, it's like, look, it is a software we are launching and it's fine as long as you talk about it. The second thing I wanted to tell you is doing that. I think this number one thing, if you actually get the one right, you get the everything else becomes not as important. We have an aerospace engineer here. The second thing is, if it doesn't sell with a small amount of effort, this is very important. After you've launched repeatedly, you already know this, but a lot of you guys may not have done multiple launches. If it doesn't sell a little bit with a small amount of effort, it won't sell at scale. Let me give you guys a specific example. When we launched Deal.ai, a lot of you guys may not know because it's now more than 2 years ago. We launched it as an AI M&A platform for people to buy small businesses. I have my whole thesis around it and all that. We struggled, really struggled. I was there, great. Those of you guys who are that OG, I appreciate you and I love you. Thank you for being with us. That's when I found Deal. Great. I love the fact that we have people here after more than 2 years. I really appreciate you guys. I tell you guys in hindsight what I did wrong there. And again, nobody is perfect, and I'm not perfect. I make mistakes all the time. This is my mistake. We launched it as an AI platform for buying small businesses and went to a sales team model. Okay. So people, in order for people to get access to it, it was a whole package of what people would get access to. Terry probably has some gray hair because of that period. It was a whole painful period. We were like, okay, we're not explaining the product. We're not explaining the benefit. How long were we hitting our head against the wall, Terry? 6 months, 5 months?
Oh, minimum. Like I thought it was closer to like 8 or 9. It was horrific.
So that is a mistake. I can talk about why I thought the thesis is valid and all that, but it's besides the point. Here's the truth. I and the team struggled with that for months. I don't know how many months, for months. And it wouldn't sell. Ultimately, I was like, you know what? Screw this sales system and creating this package of handholding. It was essentially consulting. It's called a tech-enabled service company. So service plus tech sold to clients. And we had a few clients, don't get me wrong. It wasn't like 0, but it was really difficult to get the clients. Ultimately, I said, we just stop the sales team. Let's put it on a self-checkout and try to sell the product for $10 a month, something very low. I can't remember the exact price. Let's just see if we can move some units, because I was dying from not having customers. I just am not used to having a company that doesn't have a lot of clients. So I'm like, let's just sell it for, we were selling it for $5,000. I'm like, I'm going to sell it for $10. See if anybody buys. When we started that and it didn't sell, I knew I should have done it the other way. I should have started at a really low price to see if it works. And then I would have said, okay, now it works. Now let's add services to it and scale it. But I didn't. So I went reverse. And it took me 6 months of wasted time, in which this is the beginning of AI. This is early 2023 that we started this. I missed 6 months on that experiment. And then we pivoted to Deal AI the way it is today, and boom, it literally was overnight. Sometime in October 2023, we had the idea of what became Deal AI, not exactly, but similar. We changed the landing pages overnight. I shot a video explaining what it is at 4 a.m. Next day at 10 a.m., look at the numbers. I slept at 4, woke up at 9:30 or something. I looked at the numbers. I'm like, this is working. And when that happens, then the rest of it is mechanical. I called my engineering team, pivoted the whole company. The difference between the original idea of Deal AI and Deal AI that you guys see today is already morphed. So it's sort of like the first version of Deal AI wasn't 10x. It was 100x. With this tiny amount of effort, it would sell, even though the product was very rudimentary. This is super important, because if you've spent a lot of time on an idea and you didn't go to market fast, you feel committed to the idea. Then when you launch the idea and it doesn't work, you blame anything but the idea, the concept. You blame marketing, pricing, packaging. But the real test is, can I sell with little effort? Can I sell a few units of whatever it is that you're trying to do? That's the real test. And it's just like little amount of effort you need to be able to go through. Is this also something you guys struggle with? Or do you have a product that doesn't sell and you're trying to polish it to make it sellable? Yes, no. Yes, no. It's okay. So I'm telling you, let me release you from this, okay? If you have an idea and it's not working, like as in with a small effort. It's not working as in like, forget about scaling. A little bit of push. Got to have the polish. I disagree. That's kind of the point. The unpolished version of your concept, listen to me carefully, it's important. It's a trap I fell in. So I'm trying to prevent you guys from falling into the same trap. If you cannot sell a few units of whatever product or service you're packaging, it doesn't matter if it could be a physical product. On Kickstarter, you should sell well. Okay. If you cannot sell it, don't blame it. The first thing you blame is the concept, not polish, not marketing, not presentation, not the funnel. The number one suspect is always the concept. It's a hard thing for people to swallow because they get committed to the concept, especially if they put a lot of time working on that concept. Okay. And like I tell you, like Terry and I had quite a few calls with the team on this particular thing. Terry, should I tell people?
I'm gonna say, but I was gonna interject and be like, the hardest thing was if we're on the same wavelength, we'd be getting sales, and then suddenly, boom, complete drop off, and we're like, what the fuck just happened? And then it would happen again and again. And what I'm now longer banned from saying in our business ecosystem is Alex, we are on the precipice.
That's exactly right. I told Terry, just so I'm making it more tangible for you guys, you're not alone in these pains. These things are normal. I experience it. Everybody else experiences it. I told Terry, if you say one more time, we're on the precipice of cracking this and it doesn't happen, you have to tattoo it on your arm. So he stopped using that word after that. It's just like being on the precipice, like Terry would say, of, if I do this one other thing, it will work. I swear it will work. Stop and kick yourself, slap yourself.
And you got to be so careful, because every single time I was 100% convinced and I would try to bleed that conviction into the team, and Alex reluctantly would be like, okay, if you really feel that way, then let's give it a go. And then it would just fail.
Yeah. And guys, these are hard psychological battles. Okay. Entrepreneurship is actually a psychological battle. It's important for you guys to realize that this is hard in the sense that even if you can call me an experienced entrepreneur, if I fall into that trap, you will fall into the trap too. So I'm trying to make sure that you don't. You probably saw one of the original versions, but here's the thing. My first video explaining the first version of Deal AI that actually worked. Again, 4 a.m. in the morning, bad lighting, and shot on my laptop. It was not even, I didn't script it. I just talked for like 6-7 minutes straight. We launched with that night. The presentation didn't convert because it's like low quality. Okay. So it converts despite the fact that it was not polished. And when you see that, then you know you're onto something. And then you go and make it better and better. Okay. So let's go to the third item here. I'm talking about the psychological warfare that is entrepreneurship and traps that you guys are going to see. This is another important thing to put yourself in the shoes of your customers. You are never selling the product. You're always selling the feeling / benefit. I'm actually a little bit hesitant. The actual term people use is benefits and benefit stacks, but it's actually deeper than that. When you say benefits, people think too much utility, as in what it does still, but I would say it's actually the feeling that it gives to your customer once they use your product. It is the vibe. Vibe is another term. Actually, let me add that because it is vibe. Okay. I would even delete the word benefits because it can be mistaken for the actual utility. Okay. This is important. This is nuanced. It's important for you guys. I'm talking to a group of high IQ people who understand nuanced arguments, because entrepreneurship is a battle and you need to be able to think a little bit nuanced. I'm not saying build useless products. That is not what I'm saying at all. And I don't do that. What I'm saying is ultimately when people make a purchase decision, they're not Yes, they are buying the actual utility of the product, but the reason they pull the trigger is because of the feeling they get once they purchase a product and it does the work for them. That is a nuanced thing that I think 95% of entrepreneurs miss. Okay. So it's like, okay, essentially the question to ask here to add, to make it, I like to actually make things, ask yourself this question. Actually, I'm going to make this a little bit even more advanced for you guys. How does this make my customer feel after purchasing using this product? So that's a question to ask. How does it make them feel? If you notice our marketing for Famous, even though it is a app builder, it is a little bit about, okay, what it does, but people get that quickly. The main focus on Famous and the reason we market it different than others is that it is a tool to allow you to become a successful entrepreneur. It makes you free to build, free to execute. So the feeling is freedom in the case of Famous, okay? The feeling in the case of Super Cool is creativity. It allows you to be creative, to express yourself. We can have a whole table of all the tools, does generates video and song, so you can create a book, blah, blah, blah. But that's not how you sell it. You sell it by conveying the feeling of this is gonna unblock my creativity, allow me to bring my creativity out. That's super cool. I'm just giving you exact specific examples to understand what I'm saying. For Famous, it is freedom to build. I don't have to deal with a bunch of engineers to build my thing. I am free to build it myself. Freedom is a feeling. I call these triggering questions. For going to market fast, ask yourself, what piece of this, what version of this can I launch tonight? Let me give you triggering questions. If I want to activate part of my brain, the best way is to ask yourself what I call a triggering question. Okay. So if you feel depressed, you want to feel better, you want to have the happiness or gratefulness part of your brain activated. One way is to remind yourself, oh, I need to be grateful. Another way to ask yourself a specific question. The question in that scenario is that, what do I feel grateful for? What specific thing in my life right now am I grateful for? That question puts you in that mindset. If it doesn't sell a little bit, let me give you the triggering question for this. Boom. Create some space so we're not claustrophobic. What version of this I can sell to 10 customers right now? Okay, how, let me actually make it even, instead of this, I should say, how can I sell some version of this concept to 10 customers right now? Can you launch a version of your product tonight? My team hears me talk about it all the time. Like, what can we launch today? How can I put it in the hands of the first 10 customers right now? Last month, when we had this same conference, we hadn't launched Super Cool. When I came on the call, my brain was in Super Cool. We hadn't launched Super Cool yet. It was the first general synthetic intelligence product we were building. I demoed it. And I thought the sign up was closed. Okay. A bunch of people on the Zoom actually went and signed up for it and started using it. I realized a week later when I was doing Zoom, people said, oh, we've been using. I'm like, what? I thought the sign up was closed. So that was unintentional, but whatever is the intentional version of that, you need to put it in the hands of a few of our community members as soon as, maybe even faster than what I did. I unintentionally did it, and a bunch of people in the community actually went and signed up for it. I realized a week later, after seeing a whole bunch of people, I signed up right away. Some of you guys signed up right away. I thought the sign up was closed when I did that. Then I saw like our database people were signing up in our database. Like, where is that coming from? And it was an obscure URL. So it wasn't supercool.com. I hadn't bought the domain yet. I bought the domain after I got some customers. I saw people signing up, and that was validation of the idea. So the question to ask yourself is, how can I put this in the hand of 10 people? It's super simple. Essentially, what version of it can I launch right now? How can I put it in the hand of 10 customers right now? When it comes to marketing, it's important. Like, okay, so I have 10 customers, and then now I want to scale. So this is like launch, put it in the hands of a few people. Now you're scaling it. That's when you think about this, that what feeling is it supposed to give to my customer? Okay. And sometimes you don't know, but you launch after you did. And how does this make my customers feel after purchasing using this product? Now, I give you another specific example. On Deal AI, somebody asked, what was the feeling with Deal AI? I didn't know when we launched exactly what is the market segment that we are going to land on, because it was literally overnight. I didn't even have time to think about it. It ended up being used by a lot of consulting people and agencies. The feeling was, it is going to allow me to wow my customer, my client. The moment I realized that, which took me like maybe 2 months to figure out, okay, so what are people using it for? Are they using it to run their own Facebook ads? What are they using it for? The dominant answer was, a lot of our users were marketing agencies or consultants who wanted to have their AI tool. Remember, in 2023, there weren't that many AI products. So it was just ChatGPT and maybe one or two other things. So they wanted to wow their clients with a custom marketing solution. Imagine you're on a call with a client and you're able to demo something on Zoom and impress them. That feeling was Deal AI. Okay. Now, I'm going to go to one more. Is this useful, guys? Okay. So the last out of these 4 segments, I feel like these psychological battles that I go through, and I'm sure you guys go through as well, it's worth talking about. The 4th one is, I don't know how to, never stop playing with new ideas. Okay. Let's say my hit rate is 1 in 3, it turns out. Let's say your hit rate is 1 in 5. Maybe you're better than me. Maybe it's 1 in 2. I do tend to execute really difficult ideas. So if you do easier, more accessible ideas, your hit rate will be higher. What I consider winning and what you consider winning might be different. So the small wins are easier to get. You launch a bunch of ideas and you have some win rate. Hopefully you get lucky so you don't have to go through a lot of pain to find the winning formula. You did this, which is how to put it in the hands of your first 10 customers. Then you figured out how to scale it. This is very unique to the times that we live in. Okay. This is very unique in the sense that, look, there has always been those industrialists who have had many, many businesses, from the railroad tycoons, JP Morgan time, to present time. You always had people who had their hands in a lot of things. It used to be optional. This is very important. What I'm about to say is very important. It used to be optional to have your hands in multiple products and industries. In today's world, I don't think it is optional. Let me explain why. We had Deal AI, it started scaling and it's still scaling to this day. We had Famous AI, started scaling, and I distracted the team with yet another product out of the blue. And after failures, couple more failures. Okay, so you have another win. You see the win, you don't see the losses. So why is it that I keep playing, meaning playing with new ideas? Why not double down, triple down on the same idea? This goes against traditional wisdom. Okay, so people tell you that do one thing and do that one thing right. While I think that is good advice, I think in the specific times we live in, it is dangerous. The danger is the market is moving too fast. you can be replaced, a new product can appear, depends on your industry and all that. But if you are providing AI services, exactly the same thing happened in early days of the internet. So a whole bunch of people came, there was a rush, and then a lot of people got wiped out. Monica says, because you are a creative. So part of it is that I love coming up with ideas or my team's ideas and execute. I just love it. That feeling I cannot duplicate. The dopamine hit I get, I posted on my Instagram. It's like the dopamine hit I get from launching a product that is actually a successful launch, I cannot replicate with anything else in my life, short of my children. So that's the desire. I can talk about why it feels good. It feels good because you put your heart and soul into a product, you go to market, it fails. You gather yourself up, you put your heart and soul into the next product, you go to the market, it fails. And then when it hits, it is the best feeling in the world. But that's again internal desire. Is it wise to be that way after you've found your first product? My answer is, at this time we live in, it is so chaotic and companies get replaced, whole industries will be wiped out so quickly that you better be diversified a little bit. If you have one working, do not get your eyes off the ball. That's for sure. 2 is safer than 1. 3 is safer than 2. The more diversified you are in the portfolio of services and products you offer, the safer you are. Even though it sounds chaotic, it's actually better. It's actually safer. Sometimes things feel a certain way, but in reality, they may feel safer to say, okay, I have this thing, I'm going to just stay within my zone and scale this thing. Feel safe. And a lot of times it is, okay? But in the day and age that we live in, I would argue that if you sit still, you get wiped out. That's why I said never stop playing. This is super true right now. At least that's my theory. Well, partly because I like it. I'm just crazy like that. But the second part is, I think it is actually a safer play. Okay. And you're adding more value to your customers. Yeah, that's a good point, Todd. Think of your first product that scales as an entry point. You get a customer to pay attention to what you do with your first product. You provide additional services. It's good for the client, it's good for you. And then you're diversified. And I had a whole talk about why because it is easier to build products these days, it is sort of like a prisoner's dilemma. So if you don't go into other verticals, other people will come to your vertical. Okay. It's just like the barriers of product and service development is falling super quickly. You can build things super quickly. So if you don't move into new territory, someone in the other territory will come in. I had a whole talk about this. Armies became more mobile because they could pack more food and faster. The world become more wars happened. So it's the same thing in business. There's going to be a lot of competition, people going into each other's vertical, competing with each other. So if you don't expand territory, other people will come into your territory. What do I mean by vertical? By vertical, I mean the term is an industry term. You can ask what vertical means in business. It means a specific service or product that you deliver to your customers. For example, your vertical might be automation for home construction companies. That is a vertical, different terms. Cool. I think I conveyed my points. I was thinking about my life for the past 2.5 years. And I'm like, what can I tell people to avoid doing all sorts of crazy stuff that I did that didn't work and just get to winning as quickly as possible without all the weird things that we did.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of it. I was witness to it. I lived it. It was epic at the good times, not so much at the downturns. Yeah. We're on the precipice.
You're on the precipice. Good thing you don't have that tattoo. Anyways, I'm going to drop off. Guys, I really appreciate you guys for being with us. Again, like I said, just think of our company's example as a sort of, I won't say we are perfect, but it's a good example to look at. I am 100%. I've come to terms. I'm a boomer now. A lot of times I don't understand what kids talk about these days. But you guys who have been with us for a while, you see that the journey actually increases the entertainment value. Please take that formula please. Like win with that formula. Be entertaining. Left and right's failures are okay. It's okay to be muddy and dirtied up and your face smashed against the wall, Terry getting a tattoo on his arm. It's all fair game, and it just makes it more interesting for everybody. Okay. Thank you, everybody.